Hello everyone, today I'll be explaining a chapter of chemistry and it's the very first chapter of class 10th curriculum, so it's called Chemical Reactions and Equations. I've already explained the chapter of physics, electricity, and since I'm not a biology student, I'm not getting into that. So today we'll be talking about matter. Matter, and to be more specific, we will focus on certain aspects of matter. And when I say matter, some students think that I'm going to revise class 9's chemistry, but that is not true. When I said matter, I actually mean like everything around us. So that is what I mean to say. So let's start. Actually, this chapter is more about chemical reactions. And when I said matter, I'm speaking very broadly. So to be more specific, we'll talk about chemical reactions and equations. That's the very name of this chapter. So let's start. I'll cover it very quickly and in a way that you can understand as well. Magnesium ribbon is cleaned with there's an activity on the very first page. We have a Bunsen burner and we have a china dish, and we also have a magnesium ribbon. Now we're taking this magnesium ribbon and holding it with the help of tongs, and then we are lighting the Bunsen burner and burning the magnesium ribbon and placing it on top of the Bunsen burner. Now while carrying out this activity, while proceeding through this activity, we have to wear goggles which are meant for this purpose because the light is going to be very much which will be emitted in this activity. Now, okay, I just realized one thing. I should cover up a broader aspect first, so I'll go through that. So we have to our purpose in this chapter is to identify that reactions are taking place. How a reaction how can we say that a chemical reaction took place? One very obvious response can be the formation of a new substance. That is true. But then there's so many other things that we can consider. So many other things like the generation of light, as we'll see in this activity later, and things like the generation of heat, so the change in temperature. So there's so many things that we can observe. We can make observations about them visually or by sensing it, like with the help of our hands, like in case of temperature. So this chapter is all about chemical reactions. Now, I'll cover up a broader aspect before I actually get into the chapter. So there are some main aspects which help us to identify that a chemical reaction took place. Like one such aspect is the change in temperature. One is in the generation of light, the generation of heat. Third is the change in color. Sometimes when reactions take place, the color of one substance, because it existed earlier, so that changes into another. And the evolution of gas is also such a change, and the formation of a new substance is obviously such a thing. So that's all which is written in NCERT about this. Now we will carry out different activities and cover these aspects and see how these changes let us know that a chemical reaction took place. So I'll start from there. The first reaction, the first activity which is given in our book. So it starts from the burning of magnesium ribbon. We have to clean the magnesium ribbon before burning it because magnesium is a very reactive metal, so it comes in the top of the reactivity series with an atomic number 12. It's like one of the topmost elements, so it's very reactive. Now because of its highly reactive nature, it reacts with oxygen present in the atmosphere and forms a layer called magnesium oxide. As long as this layer is present on the top of the ribbon, it cannot react. The ribbon cannot react further with oxygen while we'll make it go through combustion reaction. So in order to carry this reaction in the most efficient manner so that more and more magnesium can react with the oxygen easily, we have to rub it with sandpaper, and when we do that, the thin layer of magnesium oxide, it gets removed, it gets eliminated, and then the magnesium ribbon, it can react with the oxygen in the atmosphere while we are carrying out the combustion reaction. So we'll take, now after we've cleaned the magnesium ribbon, we'll take the ribbon and we'll hold it with the help of tongs, because when we're burning it, we want to make sure that we are safe and away from the fire. And another thing which we have to do is wear the goggles, as I said in the beginning of this video. We have to wear goggles because in this reaction a lot of heat will be emitted, a lot of light mainly. Sorry, I said heat, but it's actually light. A lot of light will be emitted in this reaction, and in order to save our eyes from any harm, from any damage, from excessive light, we have to wear the goggles. So that's the main purpose. So these are two important things, and actually questions can also be asked from these 2 points, like why we rub magnesium ribbon with sandpaper before burning it, and second question can be asked that why are we wearing goggles while making the magnesium ribbon react with heat and while it's giving off light. So that is the answer of a question. So when we burn magnesium ribbon with the help of Bunsen burner, a lot of light is emitted, that is one point, and magnesium reacts with oxygen, Mg plus O2. It gives us MgO, magnesium oxide. Now we'll talk about so first let's just compare like the aspects that we talked about earlier, like what are the changes that we might observe if reaction is taking place, and what actually happened in this activity. So let's form some dots. Let's connect the two things together. So in this activity, a new substance was formed, magnesium oxide. Light was emerged, and somewhat the temperature will also change. What was the new substance? It was magnesium oxide, which is grayish white in color. Actually, it's white in color. So magnesium oxide, the substance in the plate, the china dish that we took, we have to collect the magnesium oxide in that, the new substance that's formed. So in that, the new substance formed is magnesium oxide. So that's stored in the china dish. So these are the two observations that we made. So this is one example in which these aspects are reflected. Now we'll talk about more such examples. So one example is of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. So when lead nitrate, which is PbNO3 2 NO3 whole twice. So when this reacts with potassium iodide, which is Ki, we get a reaction takes place, which I'm sure many of you also know about. It's called double displacement reaction. So the lead, it gets attached to the iodine atom, and the potassium atom gets attached to the nitrate. So we get potassium nitrate and lead iodide. So two new substances are formed, right? Two new substances are formed. So one observation, again connecting dots for the aspects. So one observation is that newer substances are formed, like two substances are formed. Second, the color change also takes place because potassium iodide is yellow in color, while the potassium nitrate was, that we took earlier in the reaction, as reactants. What are reactants? I'll tell you about that in a moment. So potassium nitrate, it reacted with lead nitrate reacted with potassium iodide to give us lead iodide, which is yellow in color, a color change, and potassium iodide. And potassium nitrate, right? So these are the substances. Now, if I had a board or something like that with me, I would have written it down over here, but since I have it in another room, so I won't bring it right now. What's the time? It's already 11:30, so I have only 20 minutes, so it's of no use. I'll use it another day. So this is another reaction. I can show you that from my book though. Let me check. So I've written it over here on the top here. PbNO3 plus Ki. It's coming out to be opposite, so it's of no use, but it's written Pbi plus KNO3. Let me focus a little bit here. Yeah, so I guess you can read it now. Here, so this is the entire reaction. And this is another observation. Now let's talk about another activity where we'll notice something. So zinc plus sulfuric acid gives us. Okay, let's finish this lecture right here. While I'm explaining things, I just noticed one thing. Okay, that's fine. So while I'm explaining things, I noticed one thing, that I'm not explaining things in a structured way. So I explained to you first, I started with the activities of what I shouldn't have. I should have gone through the basics, like what is a reactant, what is the product, what is the meaning of the equation that we write, then balancing the equations, and then about how is balancing done. Then after explaining the basics, like and the basic function, like how does the reaction take place, what does it actually mean, I could have then gone to the types of changes that we notice, which were the aspects which I just mentioned, like the color change, the change in temperature, and everything else. I could have gone through that afterwards, rather than going through it with the very first place, because obviously this is like a secondary thing. First thing is understanding what the reaction is. So I could have made the video in a better way if I started from there and went to the beginning. I just noticed one thing, that this stuff in NCRT is written in a very unstructured way, and if I'm explaining through the book right away without actually forming these structures in my mind like teachers do, then I'm not delivering a very nice content. I'm just reading things out and translating it like we do in language subjects, explaining the meaning of the words, but that is not the purpose, right? The purpose is to form a string of thoughts and join them to, like, to present many thoughts in front of the children, and then to join it together. And when we join it together, we get a whole set of ideas, and that's actually called the concept building. So have to start from the very basic, very basic, which is also not something which is given in the NCRT, and then from there I take that concept and apply it in the further things which are mentioned over there, like the color changes, the aspects, and everything. And then further I move to the specific cases of the reactions. So after dealing with these basics, only am I supposed to deal with that. But I did the opposite. I just randomly started shooting this video. So for those of you who are watching this video, that is the point you should take in mind. And I will try to shoot another video, better video in the future. Till that time, have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.